Hi everyone. Welcome to today's episode 5 of the Bitcoin Liquidity series. This is a series we've been running for the past 2 to 3 months, where we interview or what we find to be the most innovative and exciting projects and builders across the Bitcoin DeFi space. Today we're joined by Serrano, who is head of product at the Bitcoin L2 Labs. And for those of you unaware, the Bitcoin L2 Labs, and Andre, correct me if I'm wrong here, are the core developers behind Stacks, which I hope many of you know is the leading Bitcoin L2 development platform here. So Andre, it's an honor to have you here. I'm very excited to learn about yourself and what you're working on with Stacks.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks for the introduction. That all sounds great. Hi, everyone. So my name is Andre. Um, as mentioned, I'm the head of product at Bitcoin L2 Labs. We're actually a new company that has started in the Stacks ecosystem that's focused on core product development. So we are, the primary team, one of the primary teams building SBTC, which I'm sure we'll talk about here today, and also focused on upgrades to the core protocol itself. And so, yeah, SBDC is just the first part of that. And yeah, excited to go into more detail here today.
Sounds great. Well, I think we have. Seems like we're getting a decent audience now, so I think that's we'll slowly kick it off. And of course, this session is recorded for anyone who's missing the first few minutes. So yeah, let's dive into it. Can you tell us? I guess we'll start with you and make it a little personal here in the beginning. So introduce yourself and I guess your journey across the crypto and Bitcoin ecosystem and how you ended up with Stacks.
Yeah, definitely. So I've been in the crypto space, joined early 2017. I've had a few different roles, both as an investor and an operator in various different companies. I've always been a Bitcoiner at heart, though. I saw Bitcoin as really a store of value, fixed supply, and really this perfect form of money that could really have a big impact in providing uh, basic finance and savings technology to people around the world. And so, I started building on Bitcoin. I eventually discovered Stacks around that time. I invested back in the 2019 raise and then joined as a core contributor a couple of years later once mainnet launched. And I think both speaking for me personally and for Stacks, I think we recognized the potential to bring more programmability to Bitcoin. I think despite the the properties that make Bitcoin a really good form of money, we sort of recognized that it was still really difficult to build on Bitcoin. We saw a lot of teams moving to other ecosystems that offered more flexible programming language and frankly the ability to raise more VC capital. And
Mhm.
so I think that this topic of Bitcoin programmability was always very important. And then, I think it really clicked for me seeing the Stacks mainnet launch in early 2021, where you could actually earn Bitcoin through its proof of transfer consensus mechanism. And we really viewed Bitcoin as like the base layer of the future digital internet, digital economy. And so, we realized that a lot of the innovation would happen on layers on top of Bitcoin, and we wanted to be that programmability layer to ultimately bring more smart contract capabilities, more DeFi capabilities to Bitcoin itself.
Okay, got it. What was the journey like in the early days of this? Because as you mentioned, there was not really any discussion surrounding composability and developing smart contract applications on Bitcoin, at least back in, I guess, 17, 18. All the hype was on Ethereum and I guess platforms that we're not really talking about anymore, whether that's EOS or other similar platforms. Yeah, what was it like being, I guess, one of, if not the earliest smart contract platform on Bitcoin?
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely a contrarian opinion at first. Even speaking with, VCs and investors, I think there were a lot of questions around, why would you build on Bitcoin when there's platforms like Ethereum that are out there? But the thing that I've learned from being in the space for a while is that it really helps to operate on a 10-year plus time horizon. I think that a lot of people, because the space moves so quickly, people tend to come into the space very short term oriented. But if you want to provide real value in the space, you have to think on this longer time horizon. And I think that's what Bitcoin helps to lower your time preferences and kind of shift your mindset to this. And so while it was contrarian at the time, this idea that Bitcoin would eventually become the space layer that could have smart contracts built on top of it, I think has proven to be that thesis has proven to be correct. And there were a few people that around that time that really kind of championed this idea. One of the one of the more influential essays that remember reading at the time was by Wences Casares. It was called "The Case for a Small Allocation for Bitcoin." And he basically argued, one of the points in this essay argued that Bitcoin is a more conservative technology. And so it's not always going to be on the bleeding edge of some of these upgrades, but that it can learn from other ecosystems and incorporate some of the best technologies back into Bitcoin. And I think that has proven to be spot on because, we're seeing, we saw the return of NFTs via ordinals to Bitcoin, but, adjusted to more Bitcoin native, kind of incorporating some of the unique properties of Bitcoin itself. We're seeing smart contracts and a full DeFi ecosystem, really what has existed on Ethereum now coming back to Bitcoin, but with this ability to really tap into the massive liquidity and market opportunity and security of Bitcoin itself. And so, again, it was contrarian at the time, but we pushed through it, and I think that helped set us up to be kind of early to this trend of Bitcoin liquidity, Bitcoin DeFi.
Yeah, got it. How are you finding like the I'm not sure how to phrase it, the transition for stacks, I guess, because as you said, it was a very contrarian stand that stacks kind of took on, at least a couple of years ago. It's like Bitcoin was always this conservative platform. There's the kind of tendency for investors and builders to not really want to experiment or innovate too much. Are you finding that's changing now, and there's more, I guess, flexibility and a desire for innovation on Bitcoin?
Yeah, definitely. And I think there's a couple of things for that. I think one is just technical innovation. I think with the Taproot upgrade, which led to ordinals, we now have some more of the basic tools to be able to build some of these more expressive capabilities. Stacks is utilizing these tools. I think everyone in the ecosystem is kind of this really was a big unlock for the broader ecosystem. Um, and so, and one of the benefits, at least from this.
Andre, I think I lost you from my side. I'm not sure if it's an issue on my side here. Or
Hi, everyone. Can you hear me?
there we go. Perfect.
Sorry about that, folks. My time limit for X went over for the day
Fair
and it
enough.
cut me off. Sorry about that. Okay, where were we?
Fair enough. It's difficult to have a time limit for X in this industry, but I admire it.
You have to set it sometimes, otherwise
Yeah, true.
you have to get some work done around here.
Yeah. I think let's switch lanes now and go back to, I guess, development efforts going on at Stacks. Can you talk to me a bit about what you guys are working on at Stacks? So, of course, there's the Nakamoto upgrade recently, which has been fairly significant for you, and there's the introduction of SBTC, which you mentioned before. Can you walk us through, yeah, I guess both of these initiatives or efforts and what it means for Stacks, what it means for the Bitcoin space?
Yeah, absolutely. So to your point, the Stacks ecosystem has been working on two upgrades for this year. The first is Nakamoto, and the second for SBTC. And in many ways, Nakamoto is enabling SBTC. So I'll talk about that first. I think the main points to remember about the Nakamoto upgrade is that it's an improvement in both security for Stacks, enabling Bitcoin finality for DeFi applications. That means that Stacks will inherit the underlying security properties from Bitcoin. It will always fork with Bitcoin. And that's one of the key security assumptions for SBTC. It's how we can offer faster deposits and withdrawals, bridging into Bitcoin, and better security assurances around transaction finality. The second part of it is enhancing transaction throughput. And so we've seen the Stacks transaction times decrease in order of magnitude. As of right now, their Stacks blocks are being produced on an average of around 20 seconds. And we're continuing to make optimizations over the course of the upcoming weeks, where we're going to see that drop even further. We'll have better transaction throughput for more complex smart contract calls, including many of the DeFi applications that are really required for that. And so, basically, when we look out over the next couple of weeks, this is all kind of coming together where we'll have faster transactions with Bitcoin security and SBTC launching early next week. And this is, I think, this is really the moment that a lot of developers, a lot of users are waiting for to really unlock the full potential of Bitcoin and DeFi. And so, SBDC will launch. We have some things I could go into more detail on here, but I'm personally really excited for this, and basically how it can be how it can unlock some new capabilities for both users and investors.
Awesome, very exciting. So you heard it here first. SBTC launching on mainnet next week.
Yep, that's right. That's right. And one of the things that I think makes this launch stand out for me is, I think the first use case that we've seen for Bitcoin this year is that people want to start earning yield on their Bitcoin. They want to earn rewards on it. As of right now, it's kind of this, it's a lot of Bitcoin is sitting idle. It's not really being put to productive use cases. So we want to change that. And so, when SBTC launches, we are also rolling out a rewards program where just for holding SBTC, users will be able to earn a yield delivered every 2 weeks in SBTC. So Bitcoin in, Bitcoin out. And this is made possible through the Stacks consensus mechanism, because I mentioned previously, Stacks natively yields Bitcoin. And so we've basically developed a way to pass that along to SBTC holders. So I think this will be a pretty compelling product for folks who are just looking to earn and could really compound their Bitcoin holdings, earn a yield on it, while also benefiting from DeFi. So you'll be able to earn this sort of base level yield while also deploying your Bitcoin in lending protocols or liquidity pools on decentralized exchanges and others. So I think through that, we're going to really we're looking to really kind of jumpstart this broader DeFi ecosystem.
Okay, sounds very exciting. Just out of curiosity, how are you positioning SBTC? Are you how do you, I guess, how do you think of it? Do you see it as a simple wrapped Bitcoin? Is it a liquid staked version of Bitcoin, or what's the the positioning of it?
It is more of a tokenized wrapped Bitcoin product. It's not a liquid staking token because you don't actually have to stake it to participate in the accrual of rewards. So it's more of a wrapped asset. But I think the key differentiator here is that when you look at other forms of wrapped assets in the market, whether it's wrapped Bitcoin or CBTC, SBDC is decentralized. So removing single point of failure from a single custodian to a more decentralized signer network. So SBDC has a network of validators that are responsible for processing deposits and withdrawals into the network. And I think we are launching with, really the best validator network for a Bitcoin asset. And so, really trying to develop more trust minimized, permissionless solutions for using Bitcoin and DeFi. Also, of course, the actual minting and redemptions of BTC is also permissionless. I think you see other models where you have to go through some sort of merchant, and there's like a little bit more overhead kind of in that process. So, if I just had to summarize it, it's really a decentralized alternative to using Bitcoin and DeFi with a best-in-class signer network with more permissionless and trust minimized features.
Okay, got it. How do you see, or what will the extended DeFi ecosystem look like for SBTC? You're looking at integrations, and what can users expect from, when it comes to DeFi opportunities for holding SBTC?
Yes, there's a few. I think that one of the first use cases beyond just earning yield rewards will be lending and borrowing. So there's of course a lot of demand to borrow against your Bitcoin to access leverage or other yield opportunities. Of course, Yala USD is a part of that, right? Ideally, we can borrow against SBTC, mint YUSD, YU, and just and be able to access some of these yield opportunities. There's also a range of DeFi applications that are launching to just make it really easy to handle the borrowing and lending process. And so yeah, borrowing, lending, Bitcoin native stablecoins, decentralized exchanges, perp dexes. These are some of we really want to develop some of these essential kind of DeFi primitives to build liquidity for SBTC and power it throughout DeFi, and then expand outwards from there.
Yeah, that makes sense. Is this these DeFi primitives? Is this something you're working on at Bitcoin L2 Labs as part of a larger Stacks ecosystem, or are you also counting on, the greater BTCfi ecosystem growing in parallel?
Yeah, so at Bitcoin L2 Labs, we are a core development company. So we're really contributing to the Stacks blockchain itself. When we look at the broader ecosystem, there's a few different parties that play a role in this. So Trust Machines is a venture studio. They are incubating several different applications from Granite, a really interesting lending protocol, Zest. They're active investors in several others as well. So they certainly play a key role in some of the developing the applications on Stacks. But when you look out across the entire ecosystem, I think it really is key to develop more of a flywheel effect, and that's the approach that we tend to take here. So when you look at it, we have the Stacks Foundation. They do a lot of work on developer education and outreach, hosting hackathons, really trying to bring a lot more developers into the ecosystem. The role that Labs plays and that Hero Systems plays, we're really building infrastructure and developer tools to improve the developer experience. So once developers are onboarded, then they have a good experience, and they can be successful and go out and build applications to ultimately attract more users. And then from there, we really support the ecosystem through business development. We work on new partnerships to expand access to both Stacks and to SBTC, to grow liquidity for the ecosystem, which also ultimately attracts more users for the applications that we're supporting, and kind of reinforces the core value proposition. So that's just kind of how I would summarize how we think about kind of building the ecosystem as a whole, and how the various core contributing entities play a role in each of that step of the process.
Yeah, that makes sense. Are you guys taking, or how are you envisioning the, growing the SBTCi and attracting liquidity here? Are you talking to institutions? Or are you taking a retail first approach to this? Or yeah, how are you kind of approaching this?
Yeah, we're certainly talking to institutions and investors. I think because Stacks has the credibility of been around for the past several years. We've through the SEC qualified offering. I think that also helps to establish some credibility from institutions. So I think that we're in a pretty unique position to be able to offer a more institutional grade product and actually start to onboard institutions into the space. Now, of course, we're also going to be onboarding retail users. Normal users will be able to participate as well. But yeah, that's really, we are looking to expand kind of holistically across those different user types.
Yeah, that makes sense. I guess just going back to an earlier comment you made about how it's important to, or how you prefer to take create a 10-year roadmap for Stacks, or how that's the, I guess, the kind of approach that you took back when you started here. What does a 10-year roadmap look like for Stacks? Or where do you see Stacks in 10 years? Or I guess the Bitcoin DeFi ecosystem as a whole.
Yeah, I mean it's a big question.
Yeah, just to put you on the spot a bit.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think that there is a lot of work to actually develop the type of applications that we want to see. I think at this point, everyone kind of understands the vision and the potential here, but we have to execute. I think that for me, that means continuing to prove SBTC to make sure that it is the Bitcoin asset with the best trust assumptions on the market, with the deepest liquidity. So, we want to continue to be at the cutting edge of new technologies that are coming out so that users can trust and have a guarantee that their assets are going to be secure. So we're going to continue to do research and development into the cutting edge of zero knowledge proofs and BitVM and other technologies to really make sure that we're on the cutting edge of this. And then also really just looking at scaling the ecosystem, because I think that the Bitcoin L2 that's going to win is going to be the hub for liquidity and usage. That's really what's going to drive a lot of it. And we're at the stage now where we can really start to build these sorts of network effects. So when we look out, at least over the next couple of years, that's really where our focus is. Continuing to take a product-driven approach, understanding, what our users need, what developers need in order to be successful in the space, and then developing sort of a longer-term vision and roadmap based off of that.
Yeah, that makes sense. And how are you approaching building out this, I guess, extended and associated ecosystem? Is this supporting other DeFi protocols and platforms building on Stacks, or like what's the approach to this?
Yeah, so I see as of right now, growing SBTC TVL is really my North Star metric. If we can onboard a lot of liquidity into not just Stacks, but the broader crypto ecosystem through SBTC, I think that helps to really set a lot of the foundation. And from there, it's looking at how do we grow that, how do we really activate that TVL to improve liquidity. So we want to develop, deep liquidity pools for SBTC on Stacks so that it's really easy to trade in, trade against SBTC for other Bitcoin assets. There are teams that are, for example, building a runes bridge that should be going live around the same time, so you can have an AMM experience for trading runes on Stacks, trading against SBTC. So there's work to think about, okay, how do we improve liquidity for Bitcoin and Bitcoin native assets on Stacks, deploy these assets into productive use cases, like I mentioned, liquidity, like hubs of liquidity, like on like a Zest protocol, for example, and then taking it from there. So really it starts with SBTC, Bitcoin liquidity, and then kind of looking around the ecosystem of what are the next use cases that need to be successful for the DeFi ecosystem on Stacks to really take off.
Okay, got it. And are there any use cases or any projects that you're particularly excited about? If you have to single out one or two?
Yeah, I mean, there's a few. I really like Granite. So they are a Bitcoin lending protocol, but the way that they've designed their borrowing and lend mechanism, I think is much better from a user perspective. So they have so there's no rehypothecation when you deposit your assets in Granite. So there's some better security guarantees there. And the liquidation mechanism, I think, is much more favorable from a user because one of the biggest challenges from borrowing against your Bitcoin that I see as a user is that if your liquidation threshold is hit, you're losing all of your collateral. And so they basically developed a mechanism that is a soft liquidation. So if your liquidation threshold is hit, they would only liquidate the amount of collateral needed to make your position whole again. And so it removes the risk of total loss of your collateral. So I'm looking at the ways that some of these DeFi applications are improving over some of the existing primitives to actually build use cases that I think will need to really kind of take us into this next phase of adoption for DeFi.
Okay, interesting. Moses project called Granite?
Yeah, Granite, shout out to Granite, to Granite.world. But really there's several applications that are coming out. I think tomorrow we'll have a new ecosystem page launching on Stacks.co where you can really start to see all these apps. So I'll be sure to tweet that out when it goes live.
Okay, perfect. Excited to check that out. I also see we've been keeping you a bit longer now, so we'll slowly start to wrap it up. But can you point us towards the, or just diving into the SBTC launch next week? What can our users expect? What are you most excited about? What do you want the listeners to check out to next week when SBTC goes live?
Yeah, so the first step, you can go to bitcoinismore.org. As of right now, it's a simple landing page. We're going to be releasing this over the next day or two. This is the rewards website where you'll be able to go once you have your SBTC to enroll in earning Bitcoin yield that's distributed in SBTC. I think that's going to be a popular product. So take a look at that, sign up now so that you get alerts for when it goes live. And as I mentioned, we'll be releasing a lot more information and publishing all the details on the mint for SBTC, how you can participate, more step-by-step tutorials. So be on the lookout. Follow, I'll be tweeting it out. You can follow me. You can follow the Stacks handle that's here on the stage with me, and we'll be sure to keep you all in the loop for when it all comes live.
Okay, perfect. Well, everyone heard it here. You know what to do. Can you hint at a date, or are we gonna have to sit tight and be patient?
Yeah, it'll be December 17th.
December 17th. Perfect.
Yep. So next Tuesday.
Perfect. Looking forward to that. Well, Andre, thank you very much. Is there anything you want to sign off on?
No, yeah, just thanks for having me here today. Just big shout out to Yala. Of course, we love our partnership with Yala and bringing more Bitcoin native stablecoins, Bitcoin yield opportunities to the DeFi ecosystem. Also the way that you guys are thinking about liquidity across ecosystems. I think these are important challenges that we're going to have to address to improve Bitcoin DeFi. So glad that you guys are a part of the ecosystem.
Yeah, well, I appreciate that, and very much looking forward to expanding our collaborations with you and Stacks over the coming months.
Likewise. Thanks, everyone.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Thanks, everyone.